We conclude our awards with the Masters University Professor of the Year, and the winner is Patricia Kelley, Professor of Geology at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. Here to introduce Professor Kelley is her former student, Renee Schroet-Lewis. Renee, will you please step up to the lectern?
Must remember to breathe. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a distinct pleasure to introduce you today to Dr. Patricia Kelley. Tricia and I first met in 2002 during a visit I made to the University of North Carolina, Wilmington with a geology class from Cape Fear Community College. At the time, I was 37 years old, had just gone through a bitter divorce, was changing careers, and was in my second year of college. No one in my family had an education beyond high school, and I was quite nervous at the possibility of going to university. Tricia took the time during that initial meeting to speak with me one-on-one about the possibility of a career in geology. She showed me that paleontology offered me the opportunity to combine my love of marine biology with my newly formed interest in geology. The following semester, I enrolled in the geology program at UNCW under her advisement, and her advice changed my life forever. Tricia recently asked me to choose 3 words that described her. The first word I chose was patient. Although I like to think that I was a top-notch student that was always on top of her work, there was times when I procrastinated on my research, leaving the data gathering and write-up until the very last moment. Most often, that meant that I was spending countless hours overnight and weekends in the lab attempting to get my work done. Tricia would always ask kindly how the work was going and when could she expect my thesis to be turned in for her review. She never got frustrated, even though she had every right to be, and if she did, she never showed that side to me. The next word I chose was supportive. I took Tricia's invertebrate paleontology course during my first semester at UNCW. During that class, she engaged us, her students, in a hands-on active learning project. We went on field trips to fossil collection sites in the area, brought back our samples, and got to work on experiencing the scientific method firsthand. Our group formulated a hypothesis as we were sorting and identifying hundreds of fossil shells. Data collection, statistical testing, and trying to make sense of the results took several weeks of lab time, but I found the process so fulfilling. I could easily lose hours making notes and counting shells. When Tricia asked for volunteers to go to the Sectional Geological Society of America meeting here in Washington, D.C., to present the class findings, my hand was raised faster than you can imagine, and Tricia selected me to be representative for our class. The experience was life-changing. With Tricia's help and guidance, I had achieved the dream that I'd had since the age of 5. I was a scientist talking to other scientists about science. Finally, I chose the word motivating. While watching Tricia work with her classes, I took many mental notes on how to be the kind of teacher that inspired and encouraged her students to reach for higher levels of understanding. Her enthusiasm for her subject and her compassion for her students is unparalleled. And now, as a professor myself, each day as I walk out of my own classroom, I like to think that she has instilled in me enough of herself so that I, too, motivate my students to seek that higher level, do more than is expected, and never stop reaching for that proverbial brass ring. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome me today in welcoming Dr. Patricia Kelley.
Thanks very much to the Council for Advancement and Support of Education and the Carnegie Foundation for this amazing honor, and to Renee for the kind words. I believe that students learn science best by doing science, as Renee has said. Students in my smaller classes do science by collaborating with each other and with me on authentic research. In my larger classes, my introductory classes, I try to instill an appreciation for science by involving those students in examining data, developing and testing hypotheses to explain those data. In all my courses, I aim to engage students with inquiry-based methods and active, collaborative, and applied learning. But it hasn't always been that way. When I began teaching in 1979, the standard pedagogy, and we didn't use that word back then, it was lecturing. Even in graduate classes with 2 students, faculty lectured. You remember that? So my goal as a novice teacher was to become an excellent lecturer. I hope to emulate my PhD advisor, Stephen J. Gould. He was a superb lecturer. He captivated students. He incited them to applaud nearly every lecture. So I was certain that if my lectures were clear, well-organized, followed the syllabus predictably, that I too could be an excellent teacher. And the approach seemed to work. My student evaluations were strong. I attracted graduate students, and within 10 years, I was a full professor, and the University of Mississippi, where are you out there? Yay, Mississippi, University of Mississippi's outstanding School of Engineering faculty member. Yet I felt myself growing dissatisfied, even kind of bored with my teaching. Perhaps that's why I welcomed challenging administrative positions, first at Ole Miss, and then at the National Science Foundation. Administration allowed mobility, and I accepted department chair positions at University of North Dakota, and then UNCW, trading in Dakota blizzards and floods for Carolina hurricanes and floods. During my 15 years of administration, the academic world began to change. I don't think I was aware of those changes consciously, but I began inventing new pedagogies in my teaching, though I still didn't know that word. I found myself trying to enliven my courses and enjoy my teaching more by making them more interactive. At North Dakota, I introduced hands-on research using samples that I had collected in my own fieldwork into my graduate paleoecology course. And I started pausing my undergraduate lectures to allow students to brainstorm ideas in small groups. And the students seemed to like it, reporting in focus groups that these activities aided their learning. When I returned to the classroom full-time in 2003, right when Renee came to UNCW, I was eager to develop my new pedagogies more, and by then I had learned that word. I'd had success incorporating authentic research into my graduate classes, both at North Dakota and UNCW, and so I thought, why not try it with undergraduates? So I refocused the invertebrate paleontology laboratory. You didn't know it at the time, but you were a guinea pig. From traditional laboratory exercises where students would answer questions about specimens to one in which students conduct semester-long authentic research projects, as Renee has described. So, as she has said, we go out in the field and collect samples. The students extract and identify the fossils, and then they develop hypotheses for testing. They collect the data, they analyze the data, they present the results orally to one another, and they write a team-authored paper in the format of a professional journal article. And then finally, we present the results of our research at a Geological Society of America meeting, just as Renee has described. The approach promotes student learning objectives and allows students to experience research from conception to dissemination. And the students seem to like it. Even last year, I had a notorious sample They ended up having to count 23,000 specimens of a tiny little clam, a few millimeters in size, and they still remained enthusiastic. Half the class presented posters at our National Geological Society of America meeting the following fall. I love to teach. I love to take a lecture class of 100 non-science majors and get them excited about prehistoric life and even about evolution, which is a topic that's not uniformly welcomed in the South. I make the effort to get to know each student individually, and they learn my quirks. For instance, my obsession with Johnny Depp, and my propensity to show pictures of my children in class. My classes are interactive. We use group work, hands-on experience with fossils, and demonstrations. So for instance, in what I call the dance of DNA, students pretend to be different nucleotide molecules, and they team up to build chains of amino acids that are portrayed by other students in the class. Students enjoy the atmosphere of play, and I think it also enhances their willingness to invest in potentially controversial course content. And I enjoy setting a good example. You might find me with a blanket strapped to my hands and my feet, running around the room, demonstrating pterodactyl locomotion, or chasing a rubber chicken around the room to illustrate Tyrannosaurus rex predation tactics. I didn't have the nerve to bring my blanket or my rubber chicken today, or I would be happy to show it to you. So, congratulations to all those who are honored today. As educators, we share the excitement of our field with others, from college undergraduate and graduate students to middle school teachers thirsty for knowledge, to second graders excited to learn about dinosaurs. We stir a curiosity in our students. We enable them to learn by doing. We teach them to think critically, question conventional ideas, and use the tools of our disciplines. Our job doesn't end when we step out of the classroom. We teach in the field, on the phone, via email, all the time, day and night. My husband's constantly yelling at me, "Why are you checking your email? It's 11 o'clock at night." In vans, in airports, taking students to conferences, at social events. Greg, I even met with you at the oral surgeons. Remember, you came in and talked to me about your dissertation when I took Catherine to get her teeth pulled. Yep. We're passionate and compassionate. We're committed to our students' personal and professional growth, and we delight in their transformation through their college years and beyond. We ourselves are always learning. That's why teaching is so fun. So thank you to these students who have energized, challenged, and entertained me and put up with my obsessions. Monty Python and Devo preceded Johnny Depp. I thank my colleagues for friendship, support, and inspiration. Many thanks to my husband, Jonathan, our children, Timothy and Catherine, and their spouses, my brother David, and all my extended family and good friends for their support and love. My humble thanks to Case and the Carnegie Foundation for giving me an award for doing what I love to do. Thank you.
Beautifully done. On behalf of CASE and the Carnegie Foundation, I am honored to name Patricia Kelley as the 2014 Masters University Professor of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.